Acknowledge me.
Leveled by Marvin Constant, the redshirt freshman out of Tuscaloosa.
Oh, they go by now. Let him know he don't want to stop. 65 yards as the ball was thrown away from the line of scrimmage. Gerald Dixon.
Hey, you forgot to see my book. And you proper.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into Tuesday night. It's your favorite day of the week other than game day, of course. That means it's time for the Bama Standard. You know what to do. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, live chat, get rowdy tonight. I know you've got a lot that you want to talk about. You want questions answered. If you're watching the replay, get in the comment section below. Drop what you think down below. Show some love there. Before we introduce this lovely panel, as always, we are brought to you by Workspace Solutions. If your business needs a digital presence, full-fledged marketing team, SEO, copyright, or any other business need, these are the guys you need coaching up your business. Contact them today after the show, of course, at workspacepros.com. I'm your host, Justin Riley. With me, as always, is a living legend, the undefeated, undisputed king of comedy. He's everybody's cousin and star of the show, Steve Brown.
Hey, man, I'm ready to go, man. Let's make it happen. I'm ready to see all the tired fans. We're going to get to that later. But I just got one small concern about the intro. I think you need to change that "acknowledge me" to me saying that. That's because the show's all about me.
So like that's right. I got to step aside.
All about me.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
It's more
so
power.
Acknowledge me. I like
that. Can I record your voice doing that?
Yeah. Okay. Acknowledge me, but
you've been drinking spoiled breast milk again. Clearly, something's wrong.
he's drinking Unfair Life. All right, the guy
unfair.
The guy just below him, 1999 All SEC linebacker. When Ric Flair said to be the man, woo, you got to beat the man. And ladies and gentlemen, he is that man, Marvin Constant.
Roll Tide, baby, we back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And just above him is another All SEC performer, former Buffalo Bills Mafia, NFL scout, XFL scout. He changes carburetors in between segments, and one of the leading people out there as far as recruiting and evaluating. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, Smoke Dixon.
Man, let's get straight to it.
Yeah,
I'm ready. And the man who's in the deacon's chair, who's going to open us up with a hymn tonight, the senior analyst of Touchdown Alabama Magazine and the Bama Standard, Stephen M. Smith.
No hymns, but retired Rogan. No, man, we ain't doing the hymns, Steve. We're not doing it. We ain't doing it.
All right. Listen, we got a special guest. It's been a long time coming to get this gentleman on the show, and there's only one man who can properly bring any guest to the stage. Stephen M. Smith, tell the folks who we got in the house.
Well, he's back home in the South Alabama area. We got a guy from Spanish Fort who played in the Nick Saban and Mike Schumer era, 2004 to 07, one of the baddest sack specialists in the history of Alabama football. Hide your quarterback, hide your running back, hide everybody. This dude was taking everybody out. When I say out. Forget the fact. Some folks say he was undersized my foot. He was still killing you every single day. Had a great career in the NFL also. Let's bring him in here. Wallace, I'm going to eat you and spit you out. Gilberry.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You forgot one thing.
Oh, boy, here they go.
Thing. You forgot that he's also a brother of Omega.
Showdown!
Fraternity Incorporated. What up with the Q?
What's up, Q? How y'all doing today, man? First, I want to say thank y'all for this opportunity. I know Justin been trying to get me on here for a while, and with conflicts been not consistent, but I was finally able to break away. We just finished up an intense practice today. I had the Toro Rose High School in Spanish Fort, but I wanted to make sure I took time to give you guys the respect and due respect that y'all deserve. So thanks for having me today, fellas.
Man, definitely an honor.
Absolutely.
Listen, brother, I gotta ask you something. First of all, tell us where you're at. Tell the fans what you got going on. You talked about what's going on behind you, but also tell us where you are in the sack chart as opposed to Marvin's total.
You know, I'm not really sure because, you know, we don't internally we don't keep tabs. But, you know, for the world to see, you know, it's out there for everybody to see. You know, guys like Marvin pushed me to be who I am. You know, so I mean, it's for me to say how far away from I am would be a slap in the face to him for paving the way that he paved.
Slap him.
Nah. I think last time somebody got slapped in the face, it cost him $45 million. So I'm gonna stay out of that.
Hey, Gil, Justin just maxed. The only sacks he had was at Kroger sacking groceries.
It's a big difference, ain't it, Marvin?
Yeah. Would you like that double bagged? Yeah.
But yeah, Wallace, quickly tell the folks where you at right now, man. What you got going on?
Yep, I'm in Baldwin County. I just got done dabbling in politics. I was running for U.S. Congress of District 2 here in the state of Alabama.
Okay.
I'm still actively into politics, but right now I'm consulting at Spanish Fort High School with the pass rush and D-line, and I come in a couple of days a week and get these kids and transfer their mind. And it's exciting to see taking a kid from high school and getting them ready to the next level. So I mean, I'm having a ball, guys. I really am.
That's what's
Life
up,
is
guys.
great.
That's what's up.
Man, we are ready to get into week 2. Also, you had something going this past weekend. You were honored at the first game of the season. I think that you brought a little bit of that ferocity to the team this Saturday. Before we jump into it all, talk to us about Saturday and how special that was for you.
Man, it was exciting to be, you know, I was there for Shula's first coin toss. I was there for Saban's first coin toss, and to be there for DeBoer's, you know, first coin toss. In the NFL, we call that a hat trick. You know, and that's a blessing to be able to be a part of history 3 times to me in a row. You know, it's less than be grateful. You know, it's kind of you sit back and you think about all, like Marvin, all the great guys, and Smoke, all the great guys who played at the capstone, and to be one of those ones to be chosen for a celebration as such. You know, it's an honor. And I was there, my boy Kadyn Proctor, one of the best, you know, double hand behind the back catches in college football history. So. It was a lot of excitement and a lot of guys and a lot of men and women happy to see us, and that remember that era, because you guys know that era back then wasn't all peaches and cream. You know, it was a lot of guys that wanted to be. You had to want to be at Bama back then. It wasn't. It was a choice. You know, you didn't. It wasn't that many options going around back then. You kind of wanted to be at Bama. So, and for us to wanted to be there and kind of continue that foundation like we did, you know, it's kind of something to be proud of, guys.
No doubt, you had to want to be there at 4:30 in the morning with Coach P, didn't you?
Absolutely.
I remember it well, brother.
Coach Jones too, doing silly shit as he say.
There it is, looking in the sky and talking to you at the same time.
No, I know y'all know.
You gonna make me make you do something.
Some burpees. Hey, you doing burpees for 6 hours, huh? That's the only workout he knew was burpees. Crazy, man.
But look what it did for you, no doubt.
Look what it did for me. Amen, guys.
All right. Well, before we get into everything, we can't look ahead until we see what happened behind us. Well, we got 2 leading experts on this panel. The intro's not working, but folks, it's time for the depth chart. And what that means is Stephen M. Smith and Smoke are going to talk about the week that was before we get to the week that is. Stephen M. and Coach G.B. Dixon, if you would, take it away.
Let's do it, Stephen M. You ready? You buckled up? Let's take this ride with him on this depth chart.
Man, I was born ready. Come on.
There we go. So the first thing that we're going to talk about, scary thing that happened. Let's get to the injuries. Our left tackle didn't even play in the game because he got injured in warm-ups.
Oh, okay, so it was a freak thing that happened, Smoke and everybody. I was there. I saw it when it happened. You know, Kadyn Proctor went through the first few drills. He was fine. And during the last drill, I don't know if he took his pants off wrong or what happened, but the last drill, he's grabbing his left shoulder and he walks with Jeff Allen to the locker room. And I'm like, what's going on with Proctor? I just saw him. He walks to the locker room. He comes out with his left arm in a sling. And that's why Elijah Pritchett got the start at left tackle. Thankfully, no damage was done, no surgery needed, a minor dislocated shoulder.
Wow.
That's what happened. He minorly dislocated his shoulder. They were able to get it back in. Jeff Allen and staff were able to get it back in. So that's a good thing. He was seen without having that sling on his arm this week in practice. Now, do they push him and play him against South Florida? I personally would not. We will see what they do because you really need Proctor for Wisconsin and Georgia. So we'll see how Jeff Allen and the coaching staff plays it. But the best news is no damage, no surgery. He's okay.
Okay.
So now coming out of the game, what is our injury status with some of our guys that are banged up and bruised? We know how that goes in a football game. We never come out clean.
Well, right now, that status, everybody's okay. Nobody had to go to the medical tent. Nobody had any nicks and bruises from that first game. Everybody came out fine. Elijah Pritchett, had like a slight limp, but he's practicing. He's okay. Nobody came out with any bump or bruised or banged up to where they couldn't practice this week.
Now, since we hit the injury report, let's now go to the depth chart changes. We saw Elijah come in. He battled, played fairly well with ups and downs. He peaks and valleys. We'll touch on that a little bit later. But are there any movements in terms of any of the guys up front on that offensive line?
Well, right now, there is no movement up front right now. Wilkin Formby at right tackle did his thing. I think he solidified himself. When you look at Formby, a lot of those big runs came off that right side of the offensive line where Formby was. Even those 4 to 5 yard runs that the backs were getting came off of Formby's side. Now, with people who might still be a little bit concerned with Elijah Pritchett, because you go back and you look at the game, you go, Pritchett looks like he was on skates out there, had some good moments, some rough moments. If you're still kind of concerned with, do you really go with Pritchett against South Florida? Here's a move that could happen. You could put Tyler Booker at left tackle. He played left tackle all throughout high school. He's gotten some left tackle work in practice during the Saban era and even with Coach DeBoer in the offseason. You could put Booker at left tackle. You could slide Olas Enganine at left guard. That guy's a monster as an offensive guard, native of Finland. You can slide Enganine there, or you could possibly slide the transfer Geno Vandermark from Michigan State there. Whichever one you feel like doing, if you're just not 100% sold on Elijah Pritchett at left tackle.
Now, we saw the thing that we don't really want to see ever moving forward, a snap over Jalen Milroe's head. Have they addressed that, and what was the communication after the game with that?
Okay, that was addressed. So the first bad snap from Parker Brailsford, he actually hit himself on the sideline. Saw that. He was very frustrated with himself. He expects better of himself. So that's going to be cleared away because of how much personally Parker takes snapping the ball correctly. Now, in terms of Rock Montgomery, the coaching staff is with him on that. They've been cross-training him at both center and guard throughout this entire time. Chris Kaplovich, the offensive line coach, he has got on Rock about you can't snap that ball too high, son. You got to put that directly in the quarterback's hand. So in terms of Parker, he had one bad snap, but he's already corrected his own self. Rock Montgomery, the coaching staff, is getting him more so acclimated into, son, put the ball in the quarterback's hands. Not on the ground, not 30 feet in the air, but in the brother's hands.
Now let's touch the tight end position. We saw C.J. Dupree go in, and he's been on a rotational basis. I thought that he would be more involved in the offense. What was said after the game about getting the tight ends a little bit more involved in the offensive game plans?
I think Smoke, the main thing was that they were not going to show a whole lot against Western Kentucky anyway. Of course, the rain played a factor in there, but they were not going to show a whole lot. So I think this week against South Florida, you'll see a bit more to the tight end. And then as we get into Wisconsin and Georgia, that's where you're going to see that tight end open a whole lot more. Now, against Western Kentucky, they weren't going to sit there and throw a whole lot. They were going to probably use maybe 5% of that playbook. And to use 5% of that playbook, and you still had over 600 yards offensively, you still scored 63 points, and you only touched about 5% of your playbook, you roll with that. So I think from South Florida on throughout, you'll start to see more of that tight end utilized.
Now, let's keep it in the skill group, in the skill position group, and let's touch on the running backs and the receivers. Who did you see that take any steps towards getting more playing time at first at the running back position, then that happy group of receivers?
I thought Jam had a great game. Jam had a good game. Jam had a 39-yard touchdown run. I thought Jam ran with physicality, saw the speed as he presents on the perimeter. And then Justice Haynes, 102 yards rushing, his first career 100-yard game. I thought he was going to get caught on that 85-yard touchdown run. He took it on in there. Big score right there from Justice Haynes. But also, Daniel Hill getting into the end zone. I was proud to see that. I was happy to see Daniel Hill get his touchdown in there. Kevin Riley even shown some good things in a couple of runs there. But I thought Justice and Jam really showed that ownership. I would have liked to have seen them continue with Richard Young. He was starting to get going a little bit, and then they pulled him out. So I would like to see more of Richard Young out there. But I thought Justice and Jam did their thing. As far as receivers, Ryan Williams is special. 2 catches, both touchdowns, deep routes. That guy's special. Kendrick Law, we saw him get in the end zone. I do want to see more targets too. Jeremy Bernard, he only had 1 catch out there. They tried to get Kobe Prentice involved too. He had a couple of catches out there. But once again, this is a byproduct of you are not going to show your whole hand to Western Kentucky. And if you do, you're flat crazy. So that was what that was.
Now, we saw the quarterback take some steps, but what was the report afterwards? Listen to Coach DeBoer talk about the quarterback position.
I thought Jalen Milroe did a great job making progressions out there. You go back to the 2 touchdown passes to Ryan Williams. Ryan was not the primary receiver on that play. You saw Jalen take his eyes from left to right and read the entire field. On the first touchdown pass to Ryan Williams, Kendrick Law was the first option. Law was covered. Then he looked for Jeremy Bernard. They kind of had a bracket on Jeremy. He takes his eyes all the way to the right, and he sees Ryan streaking wide open and put the ball right there to where Williams can see it, run under it, make the catch, complete the play, touchdown. The same thing on the second score. The primary receiver on that play was Jeremy Bernard. He's covered. Jalen then goes to Kendrick Law. Okay, they got him. Then he finds Ryan, who makes the play, breaks a tackle, scores. So you saw Jalen Milroe. What did he do? He went through every single progression. He read the defense. And then on the touchdown pass to Kendrick Law, that was a short pass, short to intermediate. My man Marvin right there. And you hit Kendrick Law on that, even as he's buying time, maneuvering out the pocket. So you saw some very good things from Milroe. Ty Simpson continued to kind of knock that rust off of him, though he did have the touchdown run. And you even saw, Dylan Larnigan get out there, and he had a little touchdown run, not touchdown run, but a nice run in there himself. So really liked how Milroe went through those progressions out there.
He's going through his progressions a lot faster, and I like that. That shows growth. And his mid-level throwing, I think that's gotten better too. Go ahead, Smoke. Sorry.
Now let's flip to the other side, the side that stops everybody from scoring points and really takes Bama to the next level that we haven't seen much of last year. But moving forward, I think this defense, the thing that I saw was swarming and a bunch of bodies getting to the ball. And it's excitement and it's energy that they play with. Let's start with the defensive line.
Defensive line. Now, of course, we would have loved to have seen more sacks, right? But what we did see affecting the quarterback, Q-Rob got it started with a big sack. Q-Rob rocked TJ Finley's skull on that play, and you enjoyed that. But a guy that really showed out, Marvin's guy, Quay Russaw. Quay had a game. 4 tackles, a tackle for loss, was in that backfield all night long. James Smith, his running mate from Carver High School, had 3 pass breakups, showing his ability up front. I like what I saw from Jaheim Otis, running around, chasing guys, got a big stop there. Tim Keenan got a big stop there on a 4th down. And here's the big thing, guys, the rotation. We saw several defensive linemen get in the game. That was the one thing we wanted to see from Freddie Roach. Do you dip more into that rotation? You get more guys out there on the field, and we saw that. Freddie went to that rotation.
Now, what about anyone that you see that played well enough to earn more playing time next week?
I thought a guy that played well enough to earn more playing time. I look at the job that Red Morgan did on the back end. I thought Red played extremely well. And this is a guy that came in undersized, y'all. He came in 175 pounds. He's grown to 186. But I thought pass breakup, flying down the field, throwing his body in there, sticking his nose in, making hits, making tackles. I thought Red earned more playing time out there.
They played a lot of DBs, too. Then they played an awful lot of DBs, didn't they?
Several DBs played. Xavier Brown played. Red Morgan played. My God, that was Xavier Red. Zay Mincy was out there.
A lot of them played.
And Mbakwe is impressive because people forget the last time Mbakwe played corner was his freshman year at Clay Chalkville High School. He went 3 years without playing corner. And for him to go out there last week and look like he didn't miss a step playing corner out there, I thought Mbakwe was impressive.
A lot of guys for everybody.
In the first quarter, he was about a half a step away from having a pick six on that out route to his right.
He was half a step. He was half a step. And that's going to come with even more reps playing corner. For him to have not played smoke in that spot for 3 years, and he still showed that he's got the ability, that's going to come with more repetition. That's going to come with more action on the field for Mbakwe.
Now I was more impressed with him, his ability to go from plant to drive, and he got there just a hair late. But I'm telling you, you see some special skills of his ability to close and how physical he is, just as a young corner. Now let's get to Marvin's position, the middle linebacker spot. The guys that are making all the checks and showing up. I saw some playmaking ability out of all of those guys. Touch on it a little bit more.
I saw some playmaking ability of all of them, but Jihad Campbell is something.
All over the place.
Campbell taking away space. Campbell in the backfield. Campbell converging on tackles. Campbell and Lawson combined had 18 stops between the two of them. They each had 9 tackles each. But Jihad Campbell was flying. That guy is an enforcer, a real legit enforcer at that inside linebacker position. Deontay Lawson did this thing also, but Campbell's got speed. Campbell's got thump, and Campbell will cut you down. He will cut you down. So I was very impressed with Jihad Campbell.
Now, moving forward, we're going to need some more edge rushing. We're going to need some more ability to apply pressure. Keanu and Keon. Is there any talks about those guys earning more reps, and where is their development as we speak going into week 2?
Well, right now, when the depth chart, when I saw it on my table before the start of the game, Keanu Koht was actually right behind Q-Rob, but Quay Russaw shocked everybody getting the start, and that's no shade to Russaw, because Russaw's a killer. Russaw's been out there working. So what this tells me is you are extremely deep at that outside, at that Wolfbacker position. Now, I expect this week you're playing against South Florida. Keanu Koht's from South Florida. Keon Keeley's from South Florida. So I expect this week for more reps to come both of those two directions, seeing that you're playing against South Florida. We saw what happened last year in that struggle, kind of a muddled up win there. But I think both of those two young men, being from that South Florida area, especially Keeley, because Keeley's from Tampa, this will be a game that both of those two should get some much-needed reps in here.
And my good brother, great way to segue into our next segment. You've officially been off the hot seat.
All right, let's do it.
Man, that was powerful. Thank you so much, Smoke. Thank you so much, Steven. Man, okay, we have moved past game 1. I think we said all that needs to be said. Let's move on to game 2. More specifically, let's talk about what's being said, or let's talk about what happened last year. Last year, embarrassingly, we eked out a win 17-3 over USF in Tampa. That gave them confidence. They thought, or they still think actually, that they are on the same level as Alabama. They think they're coming to Tuscaloosa to beat us. Their coach, Alex Golish, has communicated that. Now, last year, we weren't the same team we are right now. We had no identity. We're wandering around in the wilderness. We're lost. The problem with USF's way of thinking is they think we're still that team, and that's what they're ultimately going to get Saturday. Well, here's the thing about that is you can slide us all you want, but we don't handle that too well. And when you come to Tuscaloosa, there's a little bit of revenge that comes into play here. So, gentlemen, let's talk about the psychology of this first. Going into Saturday, how does all that come into play? I want to start out with Marvin. Then we'll go to our guest Wallace, then up to Smoke, then the Star, and then Stephen M. Smith.
First and foremost, I'm going to say, I think we're stroking too many egos a little bit too soon here. We played Western Kentucky. We did what the hell we were supposed to do. A subpar team that lost to Jacksonville State last year. So I'm not going to put my pom-poms in my hand and go crazy behind beating Western Kentucky. Now, I say all that to say it's still a lot of work to be done. Still a lot of work to be done. When you're playing a real offensive line and defensive line where you cannot impose your will, establish the run, or take away the run, it opens up so many different things. So until we're truly tested, I'm still in the middle of the road. Now, do I love my team? Hell yes. But I ain't stroking egos yet. Oh, no time for that. Now, as we get a little bit deeper into the season, yes, we'll get to that. Now, as far as South Florida, I mean, again, we barely beat them at their house last year. They come to Bryant-Denny this year. I mean, it's South Florida. We should do what we're supposed to do, just like we did it against Western Kentucky. Again, it's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
Well, Marvin, right now you're sweating in your emotion. So I'm gonna take it from the angle of what Coach DeBoer is trying to do is get this team prepared for the second week.
I get that.
And you can have takeaways from it. And what I'm taking away from game one is you saw Alabama being able to run the football at a high level.
Mm-hmm.
On some of those explosive runs, yeah, I gave the running back, like I was watching it with Justin, I gave that running back zero credit for what happened because everybody was blocked up to a T. The same way you draw it up, Coach Gilberry, is the same way that they did it. So you saw the offensive line being cohesive with continuity, moving people. Now, I understand it's Western Kentucky, but you still have to get that done. Then you saw receivers. Go ahead.
I understand that, but when we don't have linemen who can get to that second level and a running back has to beat one or two people to get that extra yard or two, that's what I want to see. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying we're not a decent team. I'm not saying we're not capable. I'm just saying we did what we were supposed to do. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Prove it to me.
But you can't speak out of both sides of your mouth because if they don't do it against a team that they're supposed to do, you say, "Oh no, they sorry."
I'm not gonna say they're sorry. I'm just gonna say this is what we need to work on. That's why I like playing better opponents early in the season so that we have a better baseline of what our strengths and weaknesses are and what we need to work on as we move into the season. I feel like a lot of times when you play a lesser opponent, it gives you a false sense of security. And I would much rather play an SEC team or another Power 5 team out the gate, so I know where we truly stand.
Well, you're still learning what you're doing as a team, and you're still having young people be able to build. What you did for Ryan Williams' confidence, yeah, that's going to help against Georgia. What you're doing for Elijah Pritchett's confidence, even though he had a rough day, he had valuable and earned valuable playing time and valuable reps, which you can't get back. So what you saw was a team just play the way they're supposed to play, like you said, but they played at a very high level.
And building confidence.
And build on confidence. Now, the ego thing for South Florida, Marvin, you and I both played teams, and their playoff game and their Super Bowl, their national championship game was against Bama. And that's what they had last year. And they played them well. Should have beaten them, but they didn't. W's count, L's count too. We got the W, so you go back home. But walking into Bryant-Denny Stadium, I don't believe this is the same team that they're going to face with the same motivation, same purpose. This team is now confident. They have their leader, Jalen Milroe. So they're going into this game with a better understanding of who they are and how they're going to play and how they're going to attack the game. Last year, they didn't have any identity. This year, they did.
So
offense and defense.
I see them winning this game by 28 to 35 points with ease. So that's there's no question in my mind about that. So again, because the way they almost lost to them at home, in South Florida, it should be personal to them. Because again, you don't want to let this team walk into your house and anybody even remotely have to say, that was a close game, because you should have blew them out last year. That's all I'm saying.
Agreed.
Well, we had a quarterback that wasn't fully developed, and that couldn't move the offense. So that played a lot. It wasn't South Florida. It was us stepping on our own toes. So let's put that in perspective too. It was us shooting ourselves in the foot, penalties, and a young quarterback who was inexperienced. Wallace, I think you got to say something too, bro.
No, I mean
Yes.
you guys are definitely nail on the head. I'm gonna take you guys back to 07, Nick's first year when ULMM, Louisiana Monroe rolled in, and we had a bunch of underclassmen too, and Nick rolled with those guys, and the outcome wasn't the same. The board rolled with his underclassmen in this game, and those guys they rose to the occasion. I think we had 3 or 4 underclassmen actually start this weekend, and with Ryan Williams being the most prolific one, he answered the bell. So I think what you got to have is a custom of both. And Marvin, what you're saying is dead on. I kind of want to, if I'm playing early on in the season, I want to play teams that matter and games that matter just so I know where I'm at late in the season. But to also have a game like a team like Western Kentucky come in where your young guys can, go out and build some confidence and build some character, it kind of work both ways. So I can see by being an off-brand game, and then I can also see the games and being a P5 game. So at the end of the day, the guys got to go out and play. They got to go out and get the plays from the coaches and make plays. And I think overall we did that.
We did, but how are we really setting our team up to go from Western Kentucky to South Florida?
I think, and I can explain that. I think that again. I think the schedule is pretty much showing us that okay, it's getting us reps, it's getting us confidence, and if those guys have success, they'll have more confidence going into these big games like Georgia and I guess South Florida and all
what you don't want is to have a team like Georgia and try to figure out which of your young guys are going to help you in that game.
There you go.
You don't want to wait to a game like that to figure out who's going to be able to help you. So I definitely understand the scheduling, and I kind of understand the rotation and the depth chart situation. I mean, guys, think about it. We lost off left tackle in warm-ups. We playing a team like Georgia. Who's to say that our backup is going to be mentally prepared to go in and step in and do his job?
There you go.
Like Western Kentucky, he has time to. And I'm not saying he has time, but let's be honest, those scholarships those are different kind of guys in West Kentucky. You got at Alabama, so he can take plays to get his confidence up to the level that needs to be. So overall, I'm fine with that.
Mike Tyson said it best. Everybody has a plan till they get punched in the mouth. So how do you know how you're going to respond to adversity as you move into these bigger games that are going to count if you don't play a halfway decent opponent in that first or second week? And I'm not saying play a Georgia or Florida the first week. I mean, you could schedule a Big 12 team, somebody, that
you know what,
can give you some competition.
Let's keep in mind we those are a bunch of 5-star and 4-star guys out there that's playing. That's not a bunch of 2 and 3 stars.
There you go,
man. Back in the day, those
you ain't playing Steelman.
Rookies.
I hear what you're saying.
We ain't playing Steelman. And then another thing,
I'd rather know how we gonna battle through adversity early on, and again, so I know what I gotta build on. That's just how I feel. That's how I like it.
But Marvin, they're building on it through one game at a time. And then what we don't want is a Florida State. You started out with high hopes. You're thinking it's gonna be gravy, and you get hit in the mouth twice, and now your season and playoff hopes are over. Bama, to me, their schedule is set up is great. Whether they're getting the young guys in, everybody's playing, and everybody's going into these big games with confidence.
And let's be honest, guys. Everybody knows. I don't care who's the head coach and who's that players. If you don't beat Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, Auburn, those games don't even matter at the end of the year. We in SEC, we play ball at the end of the year. And just like Mr. Brown say, we got to win the games that matter at the end of the year. And if you don't take care of Western Kentucky, a LSU game at the end of the season doesn't matter.
There you go.
And he just called me Mr. Brown. Y'all better recognize
He did. Got them ashy knees and them white shoes too. Yeah, I bet.
But I have to also agree with playing these smaller teams. This is perfect for us right now, where we're trying to figure out who goes where. And these reps are so valuable to these young guys. You want them to learn right now against weaker opponents to where they can build that confidence. They're not getting in their own head. They're not having hiccups. They are in front of a live 100,000 plus strong audience. They figure it out now. And as they begin to hone their craft, when we're over there in Wisconsin, they feel a little bit better, a little bit more confident. They can relax just a little bit, not be quite as tight, and make fewer mistakes. In the long run, this is going to be a long season, guys. If we're in the playoffs, we're going to be playing a lot of games, and people will get tired. People will get hurt. And so these guys have got to get those meaningful game reps, regardless if it's against Hogwarts or Georgia. They need them. Later on, it's going to pay off.
Hey, Justin, Marvin want us to play the Dallas Cowboys. Well, wait a minute.
I don't
No,
want
he
to
wants us
play
to-
Philadelphia.
the
He
Dallas
wants us to play the
Cowboys.
1985 Bears.
Yeah. We'll beat Dallas. So
You can't make Marvin happy because, like I said, I've known him way too long. If we would have played Georgia the first game and we didn't play well, why are we playing a team like that early? We can't play. And then
I would not have said that. I would have
Right.
said, okay, now we know where we stand and what we need to work on.
But
he would have been mad if we beat Georgia. He gonna be mad if we beat Georgia this time.
go ahead, Stephen M. I know you got something. Go ahead and straighten this dude out.
My main thing is this right here. Look, the main difference between last year South Florida and this year South Florida, you don't got Tyler Buckner and Tommy Reese. Period.
Come on.
Yeah.
You got Jalen Milroe. He know he's the guy. You got Nick Sheridan, who's 100% behind him. That's all you need to know.
Guys, honestly, the only concern that I had about the game, to be honest, are the false starts, a couple of penalties. But other than that, we can clean that up. It's early. But the thing is, once they got rolling, they were rolling. And that was great. We didn't have as many defensive pass interference calls or any of that. So I think we're doing well. And I think with the setup, where we're playing a tune-up game, is helping people with technique, is helping people with their confidence. And these guys are getting reps. And not just the starters. A lot of people got in.
Yeah.
I think I got in. I'm not sure. So and again, to your point, Justin, we're going to play a lot of games. That means, and you too, Smoke, that means we're going to need a lot of bodies. That's why I just left the gym. You never know.
They're handing out scholarships, man.
You never know, man. You never know.
But honestly, in the first half where all those penalties are happening, you can attribute that to youth. You had a lot of young guys who hadn't really gotten that experience in there before. It's bound to happen. And then Kadyn Proctor gets put out. All of a sudden, everybody's in shock and they're out of sorts. The continuity is not there. That comfort level is not there. But then they start to calm down. That continuity starts to form. And then all of a sudden, guys, you saw it roll away. So I'm not harping on the penalties as much as a lot of other fans are. We're going to be just fine. To be honest with you, I think we're a lot better in a lot better place than where we were last year.
There are a lot of new names, new faces, new bodies out there that's on this team that did not play last year. Their classification might not have said how young they are, but playing-wise and playing time says how young they are. Other than that offensive line, a lot of those guys in the quarterback didn't play last year, Marvin. So you need this. You got
and the offensive line looked good too.
There you go.
Did. So I think again it's confident. I really do. So I'm excited.
All right, let's go over to what we're going to see on offense in regards to USF, and it's going to be a couple of parts. Last year, USF had one of the fastest tempo offenses in the country. They actually ranked number 2 in seconds per play and number 1 in plays per game. Marvin, I'm going to throw it to you first since you like to voice your opinion. And people have been waiting on your opinion since last Saturday, by the way. They've been chomping at the bit. For several weeks, you had your doubts about this 4-2-5 and being able to stop the run. Well, that's one of the things that South Florida does very, very good. However, I think a few weeks back, you changed your tune a little bit. And then another person of high credibility, his name is Nick Saban, put his stamp of approval on the defense too. So now that you have got your endorsement placed upon this defense, and they have seemingly improved, TJ Finley isn't Byron Brown. USF has a much better run game than Western Kentucky. So how do we shut down this high-powered, high-octane offense? Based on what you know about the 4-2-5 and any doubts you may have seen, take it away. Let the fans know exactly how we shut them down. And then I got another part.
I mean, it's just gap control football. I mean, just be where you're supposed to be. That's the biggest thing when it comes to running this defense, because again, if you got gaps in that defense, you're counting on DBs to have to make tackles when they shouldn't have to. So that front is going to have to do their job, play fundamentally sound football, be exactly where you're supposed to be. But again, I have confidence in this defense. Like I said, it's South Florida, so I expect us to do what we're supposed to do, which is going to be dominate early and often. I have no concerns about us stopping South Florida's run at all. So, hey, listen, I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Well, Marvin, I'm going to jump in for you because you said it right. Just gap control and doing what you have to do. But just going back and watching South Florida's first game against Bethune and watching Alabama's first and second wave defensive line, even third wave defensive line, physically up front, what I've seen that I haven't seen in a long time is you see guys getting knocked back at the line of scrimmage for Bama. And you're seeing guys violently shot players, get rid of them, and show up to the ball. With Nick Saban's defense, you didn't have defensive linemen hunting the ball carrier. This is the first time in over 17 years that defensive linemen were allowed to make tackles. Marvin, you've been in that defensive room. Nick Saban wanted who to make all the tackles?
Linebackers, baby.
Linebackers. So as a defensive lineman, all you were doing was
Hold that gap, baby.
Holding your gap. Now you're telling those defensive linemen, and you saw it, and that's where you saw the energy come from. Listen, get to your man, find the ball carrier. And that's where you saw the tackle for loss. And you saw all those guys wanting to play. And then you cut on that film, you saw 9, and at times you stopped the tape, Marvin, you saw 11 guys on that ball carrier. I haven't seen a swarming defense like this in Alabama in a long time. And I'm not saying what Coach Saban did was wrong, but what Coach Saban did was there were specific people that needed to make plays, and it was the playmakers on that defense, and they made those plays. On this defense, everybody eats.
And we know with the swarming defense, if one person's out of place, there's an opportunity for things to go bad. So that's all I'm saying. Just be where you're supposed to be and do your job. Now, I didn't get a chance to watch South Florida. I tried to, but, unfortunately, DirecTV and Disney can't figure their life out. So they got me screwed over here right now to go back and rewatch any games.
One thing about this Swarm D that I really liked Saturday was the fact if one guy missed, there was 2 to 3 other guys waiting to make that tackle. When's the last time you saw that, guys?
Right.
It's been a while. And that's not saying the defense is bad. It's just the way that they're in the structure of this defense.
They get into the ball.
So
Justin, one other thing. I'm sorry. So again, with all of this so-called, I would say, false confidence that South Florida has, you got to understand something. You're talking about how fast they play in this net. South Florida didn't really score on Bama like that. Again, last year, if you look at the game, Bama shot themselves in the foot. So South Florida really wasn't effective. Bama was really stopping it. So I don't understand how you could have that confidence. You got Jalen Milroe back. The offense is clicking. The defense is clicking. And I'm looking forward to a blowout if you want to keep it 100. So
now, Steve, there was a couple of factors as well, too. And notice was this understanding that, remember, it's inclement weather. It was raining.
Exactly.
So there was a lot of things that worked in the favor for South Florida, and they capitalized on it. Give them credit for it. But, Justin, you hit on it, and Marvin touched on it as well, too, the pace of the game. Marvin talked about Mike Tyson so he referred back to boxing. Well, championship fights are made by the way that guys fight. The way that Bama practices and the way that Coach DeBoer runs some of his offense, there's a lot of tempo to it. So unlike when Coach Saban was there with Tommy Reese and all those other guys, it was not since Mike Locksley and Lane Kiffin left, tempo has not been a part of Alabama's offense.
Right.
Now you're practicing against an offense that can go tempo. So it's hard to simulate a practice tempo that you're going to play against. But now that you get that every single day in practice from the spring on to now, with more of a spread type look, this defense 4-2-5 is built to attack this type of offense. So when they're trying to get the ball on the perimeter like South Florida likes to do, and that's the only chance I believe they have against Bama, you're going to now have guys in space with that 4-2-5 defense, Marvin, because they play with more 1 high than 2 high, more guys in the box to take care of a lot of those perimeter plays that they're trying to get to.
Hey, somebody in the comments said we played with a lacrosse player last year, and that's true.
There's a big difference in the way things are played.
That he does play lacrosse, so that's true.
But Wallace, you were down there. You were in the mix. You got to see these guys up close and personal. I saw devastation by the defensive line, something that we hadn't seen quite for some time. Definitely not in the Pete Golding era. That's for certain. Marvin can attest to that. But Quay Russaw was absolutely dominant. You had L.T. Overton introducing himself to college football. You had James Smith disrupting. You had Jaheim Otis being the best version of himself I've seen to date. He's healthy. Where's your comfort level after seeing these guys up close and personal? And if you had a chance to really talk to them, how'd that conversation go? You're on mute, sir. I feel like this is going to be good.
Sorry about that. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Wing sauce off.
Oh, and that's all he has to say about that. He's right back. So, guys, this must be good because that's the only reason I can feel like that we're having this delay. Wallace, let's try it again, brother. I feel like this is going to be good, so bring it home.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
You're
all right.
good.
I got to piggyback on what Marvin was saying earlier. Western Kentucky is not going to give me the look that I'm looking for to see. Am I going to be the guy to play against the LSUs, like I was saying, the Floridas, the Georgias, and the Auburns? That game, all you want to do is come out injury-free. And I think you guys touched on that earlier. No one other than Proctor before the game, I don't think nothing was really necessarily down the road, torn for him. But that's the kind of game you want to get all your guys back healthy. And then also what you guys said, this is the first year that the Alabama D-line has been able to roll off the ball. So looking at that, coming from guys just being on the line of scrimmage to guys actually going back in the backfield now, being able to make those tackle for losses, being able to be on the quarterback a step early to get a sack caused fumble. So those are the things I'm looking forward to seeing in Alabama's back, like you say, a swarm defense where guys are just hair on fire, getting off the ball, going to make plays. That kind of was taken away in the past because of the way Coach Saban coaches and plays the defense side of the ball, where everyone is on one page. Well, with this defense, what I saw was like you guys were saying, guys were head hunting, and you had guys in the back that was waiting on those guys not to make the tackle. So that's what I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see those guys keep flying around and having fun because let's be honest, guys, with this NIL and all this stuff involved, if those guys not having fun, they're looking for the exit. So as long as we can roll those guys in and let them have fun and keep everything and the morale going, I think we'll be fine going into the thick of the season, guys.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Let me get to the second part, and I want Smoke and Steven to really tackle this. Smoke, we all know that Byron Brown can run, and so can the guy behind him, Aquan Wright. He's pretty special. But Byron Brown has some dudes on the outside. And if I butcher the name, I'm from Mississippi. Y'all remember that. Abdur-Rahmaan Yassin, number 2. He's 6'2", a little over 200 pounds. He's big body. Marcus Brown-Stevens, and then Sean Atkins, who returns. He was over 1,000 yards receiving last year. So my question to you, Smoke, if we neutralize that run from what you've seen on film, has Brown improved enough as a passer to concern you?
No, because they can't vertically stretch the field to threaten Alabama because they can't hold up with this pass rush that I saw on Saturday. So the way that I believe they're going to have to attack Alabama, and the only way that they keep this quarterback upright for a long period of time is to spread him out, do those stack looks that you saw, wide splits, get the ball into the receiver's hands, hoping that they can make a play or two in space, DBs miss tackles, so they can get some yards. But if they keep this in the box and keep it close, I don't see them making this into a long game. The best ways is, like I said, perimeter, hope that we can't tackle on the back end, which I saw us doing a better job of, and just trying to extend this game as much as possible. Someone tripping, falling down, or missing a tackle in space.
Hey, Smoke, you know what else I like that no one has mentioned this whole time I've been on this show? Not one person has said anything, mentioned anything about the fact that Caleb Downs is not in our backfield anymore. It's not in our defensive backfield anymore. So the fact that those young guys came out there and basically turned the page on him so early, guys, that stuff like that is what gets me excited.
That is, yeah.
You hit it right on the head. That the secondary that Saban talked about, that was mentioned over and over again about how young they are and how average they are. Yeah, you didn't see that on Saturday. You saw a bunch of guys flying to the ball, a couple of picks, got their hands on a lot of ball, but you saw guys tackling in space.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Wallace, I want to correct you on something. Yeah, you said nobody said nothing about Caleb Downs not being there. I said it, but I just said it low, real low. Nobody heard it.
But you got a high pitched voice. We would have heard it.
But Steve, you didn't. I mean,
I was talking to God. I
still believe.
So you missed him, Steve?
Yeah.
No. He's one of the better players in college football,
without a doubt.
But we didn't mention him because you didn't really see the glaring fact that he wasn't there.
I agree, 100%. I agree.
His replacement made 2 interceptions.
And when he left, Smoke, people was worried. I saw Alabama Nation. They were crying. Like I saw people literally. They were worried about the state of our secondary when that guy, bailed on us. But like you say, I mean, I didn't see the fall off. I didn't with McVay. I don't want to miss his name. I mean, that young guy's a headhunter, man. He's going to play.
Yeah.
Okay.
The transfer from Michigan came in and he got 2 big time plays, interception. Lawson had his hands on one interception but dropped it. Those guys are playing with their vision on the quarterback, and they're controlling routes because every play is not a man-to-man press play, and they're doing a good job of mixing up coverages to make those quarterbacks hold the ball a little bit longer.
And they got their hands on a lot of balls.
Yes, they did.
No digging.
Wow.
He's been waiting for that. He's been waiting.
He has. Well, let's
here.
switch over to the other side. We got to talk about the good guys, what we do on offense. And Stephen M., I want you to kind of lead the discussion here. Last year, where USF struggled was against the passing game, and more importantly, explosive plays in the passing game. I believe they were ranked 130th in the nation and not too good. This past game, we saw primarily Ryan Williams with a little splash of Kendrick Law. Well, that being said, knowing what we're up against when it comes to their secondary and they have a hard time defending the pass, does Coach DeBoer dip into his bag just a little bit more and bring out more of Kendrick Law, Kobe Prentice, or maybe even Caleb Odom? Because that's another name we didn't hear much from this past Saturday. So how much more involved would they be this week, if at all?
That's going to be interesting because I can see DeBoer dip in the bag and pull out Jeremy Bernard. This could be a big game for Germ. I mean, this could be a big game for Prentice. Caleb Odom at 6'5". This could be a huge game for him. And then, like you mentioned, Ryan Williams can run wild here. And we're still not talking about guys like Emmanuel Henderson. Could this be an E-Man game? Could this be a Cole Adams who had a great day on punt return? If he would have gotten the crease, Cole would have housed one. So you got to mention him also. So that's going to be the fun part of which guy in this offense, in this 5 to 7 man receiver rotation offense, does Kalen DeBoer and Nick Sheridan go, we got to get this guy going this week because you got a lot of them. And then here's another one. Rico Scott had a couple of catches as a freshman. So it's which one do you go to? Which one or which group do you go to and say, hey, we're going to create for this guy, this guy, this guy, and that guy, and have Jalen Milroe, hey, you see them open, get these guys the football the moment you see these guys open, because I think it could be a matchup for any of these guys.
So Stephen, let me and this is to the panel. So pretty much what Ryan Williams did, it would allow a lot of other guys to get off, because now defenses are going to be trying to focus on this kid.
Right.
And I really believe that throughout the season, they're probably going to try to beat him up, because he's like, 160 some pounds?
175 now.
Right.
He's 175 now. But and I mentioned to Steve before, it's what Ryan Williams does is just like what Amari Cooper did in 2012. Amari Cooper created so much for everybody else because people were afraid of him.
Right.
Calvin Ridley created so much for everybody else because people were afraid of him.
Right.
And you look at other guys that have come through this program, they've created so much, not just for themselves, but for other receivers, because a defensive coordinator is like, we got to bracket this guy. Mm-hmm. We cannot let this guy beat us. Somebody else in this wide receiver room make this catch. We're not going to let your best man beat us. But that is what opens up everybody else.
But what's so crazy is all of the other receivers are like just as good or even better than Ryan Williams. So that's what makes our receiving room so dangerous. Well,
Steve Brown, you gotta look at it like this as well too. Receivers are divas any daggone way.
Yeah.
Everybody wanted to catch. Every time they run a route, everyone's open. I was open. The beauty behind it, and you said it earlier in the show, Jalen Milroe is now going through his progressions. Mm-hmm. And he's getting through them at a rapid pace. Mm-hmm. And he's really getting the ball just like Mac did, just like Tua did, just like Bryce did, to the open receiver. Mm-hmm. So it's up to Coach Sheridan to really keep that wide receiver group happy. Yeah. Because there's going to be a time that you're going to have to force feed somebody the ball. Get it to them any way possible, because the thing about receivers, when you want them to block on the perimeter, and do the dirty work and block on the edge in the run game, you got to give him the ball. You got to find a better way to give him the ball. And they ran the ball well on Saturday, and he got out of there. And like Wallace said as well, at times when he played teams like this, and Marvin hit it on the head, you just want to get out of there healthy, get to the next week, and keep building. So you're going to see more plays for different guys. And Jalen Milroe being an older guy and a vet, understanding how to get guys the ball, you'll see a lot more receivers put their hands on the ball and touch it and create more dynamic plays for themselves.
Hey, Smoke, another thing I noticed, I didn't see too many drops either.
No, you didn't. You saw guys getting open. You saw guys creating separation. You saw offense that when Loxley was there, when Lane was there, when Sark was there, these receivers want to get in and go, and they're looking at each other saying, who's going to get the ball? You remember when the Rideouts were doing that?
Right, but do you remember
that you have of this group, like they all are happy when each other score.
But do y'all remember?
To get open. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But do y'all remember when there were concerns about the receivers dropping balls? Do you remember that, Justin?
I do remember that.
Last
it was literally
year and
every
the year
week
before.
Yeah.
So I don't think there were any drops. I think these guys are really, really excited about getting open, and I think they already bought in because they know that they're going to get the ball. And that's a great thing.
Okay.
They're creating ways for them to get the ball.
So before we close up this section here, I want to touch just one more time on the offensive line, mainly because of what we saw from Elijah Pritchett. The way I see it is the man is a liability, and we have to protect our asset being Jalen Milroe and until Kadyn Proctor returns. More than likely, it's not going to be this week and probably not next week. Georgia, most definitely, you got to have him in there. We proposed some changes earlier. Stephen M. Smith, I agree fully. All about moving Tyler Booker to left tackle, then Vandermark or even Oluwas Alanine to left guard. So, Smoke, you talked about this with me earlier as far as the defensive front we're going to be facing. Is making these changes a viable option for us? Because if we remember last year, we faced an onslaught when it came from USF's defensive front. Mm-hmm. Some people are still kind of worried about that. And there's a guy you pinpointed that may be a troublemaker. So if you would pick this up, talk to us about what you've seen from our offensive line, and are those changes that we mentioned viable? And what do you see from that defensive front that may concern you or may not even be concerned at all?
Well, mixed matching the offensive line is something that most offensive line coaches do. And you have to do that because like what happened on Saturday, you never know when a freak accident is going to happen. So, like Stephen M. said earlier, there have been several scenarios and several different type of combination that they have played with in the spring, and they have to get through that in some games because you need really 8 offensive linemen to go through the season that are active that's playing and not just on the sideline, getting valuable reps. So, like you said, Elijah came in and he played up and down. But if that's your number 8th offensive lineman, that ain't bad. Now, when you talk about South Florida guys up front, they're an active group. Yes, they played against Bethune. But if you remember from last year, they played like with hair, like their hair was on fire. Quick, strong, undersized, but undersized guys, Marvin, you know, that's the worst ones that you want to play against. They don't make it mucky and get it money for you.
The Wallace Gilberry.
And when you look at Jaden Roberts had some issues last week, guys. And number 90 for South Florida, Decarius Hawthorne. He's from Center Point, Alabama. Marvin, you know when those guys come back home to play in Bryant-Denny, what do they want to do? They want to make it
ass.
Their mama, cousin, uncle, you didn't recruit me. I'm back. And I'm going to try to light this place up because I got to get 50 tickets for everybody coming this game. So he's a young man that when you cut on the tape, he transferred in from FAU with that staff that came, defense staff that came in. But he's an active, strong at the center, at the point of attack, guy that can give our taller offensive linemen and our lighter center some issues up that middle.
All right. Great job, fellas. I think everyone's more than ready for this game on Saturday. Let's start to wind things down. But before we do that, we got a few more things to do. First, folks, listen, you can't have a great football season without getting your title towel. I want you to go to whitwillsports.com today and grab your title towel using the promo code STANDARD. Get you a nice discount courtesy of your family here at the Bama Standard Network. Show up to the game this weekend, 100,000 plus rolling strong for the dedication of Nick Saban Field at Bryant-Denny. That's right, folks. Get your title towel today at whitwillsports.com. All right, I got one last little thing. We got to acknowledge some folks, some great fans. First of all, Jimmy Clay, $25. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that.
Jimmy.
See y'all Friday. Roll Tide. And then Don Parker, $10. Oh, we got a fan here, Marvin. Thank you, Marvin.
Talking about, baby.
Champions do the fundamentals at a high level, even in game one. Not seeing it. Woo. Hopefully they improve. But it's been 3 seasons to get the basics, right?
Cut on the film.
Okay.
Keep going.
Okay. All right. Now here comes the fun part. Wallace, we're putting you in the hot seat, brother.
Yes,
We're going to go in the room, little round table, asking you some things.
Yeah.
It could be funny, man. Either way, man, we're going to let the folks remember who you are and let them know.
Is this before we get started? Is this a Disney network? What's the?
No, it's not.
Disney right now. I can't watch no football because of
Disney.
Disney.
It's the hot seat, or we call it AKA savings chair. So you know it's about to get hot. And we get to ask you anything we want to ask you, and you have to answer it. And we're going to start it out with me.
Too, guys, so I'm kind of nervous, especially with Steve Brown being the one of the hosts.
You know what?
I'm glad you said that.
It's probably something he want to ask me since 2004. That's
you know what, man? Isn't it funny how God lines things up, Wallace? Isn't it funny how God lines things up? Because Steve Brown's going to start this whole thing out.
Oh, right.
And then we're going to roll to Marvin. Then we'll go to Steve and M. And then Smoke. I'll have you a nice little question or two at the end. But go right ahead, Steve Brown, star of the show.
Yeah, let's do it. You know what? I'm gonna take it easy on him because I want the last question. So my first question to you is Dreamland or is it
Archibald.
Dreamland?
Archibald.
Or Archibald? Which one?
Neither one of them, because as you know, just as well as I do, the Bros are the best grills masters in the state of Alabama. So
Wow.
I like to do my own thing. You know, I got, hey, you watch it, Justin.
You don't understand. Hey, the Bros be about that grill.
Even when I was in college, Steve, I was one of the guys where all the guys, even the NFL guys, come to my house to eat. So you know, the grill and me got a special. We got a special bond.
You don't want to see me, baby.
Smoke the ain't off my grill. Smoke and vouch.
Every Senior Bowl we'll eat. I'm talking about from Marvin Lewis to every scout, every coach. When he was with Cincinnati, was over Gilberry house eating, and he was.
Marvin, you said you grill too.
Smoke, you know what it is when I'm on that smoke.
Hey, hold on, man. Hold on.
Y'all tough. Y'all both
That's
tough.
the problem. Somebody can do
Marvin.
Hey,
Marvin, Smoke told me. Hey, Marvin, Smoke told me you boil your wings before you grill them.
In hot dog water.
There's the man wearing a pink shirt. All right.
Cool. They tender. He done boiled in the sleeve.
And ramen noodle water.
Yeah. Talking about special seasoning.
Who's next?
He also puts raisins. He also puts raisins in his potato salad too, Steve.
He said Marvin put raisins in his potatoes.
Justin, don't you got a coon or possum in your skin?
Would you boil that in hot dog water too?
Let's get back to the business. All right,
hold on. Hey, Marvin, you put raisins in your potatoes? Oh shit!
Y'all done yet?
California raisins. Okay, go ahead.
I'll make sure none of y'all ever invited to my house. How about
that? Not your boy. I'm coming.
Go right ahead, Marvin.
California raisins.
All right. So you know, coming out of college, everyone said you were undersized. How did you use that as your motivation to go into the NFL and have the career that you had and the longevity that you had?
You know, it was all a mindset, Marvin. You know, I had made up in my mind years ago, even before I even started playing really high school football, that I wanted to be, you know, more than what people thought I was. And football was just that avenue to me to express myself. And it was a way that I wasn't always the biggest, strongest, fastest tool in the shed. And you guys know that. But I was clever. I found ways to use what I had to get what I wanted. And it worked for me. It worked for me.
Well, you know
And I had
what?
a lot of great coaches and my mom and people that really cared, that poured into me the right way too. So that a lot of that played a factor in it.
You know what? That's what's up, man. We got that in common because a lot of women tell me I'm undersized. But the thing is, what? Never mind. Go ahead, next one.
I got him now. Now I don't know if everybody know in your prime, Gilberry, you are known as a car show king. What were your top 3 cars? And you know which ones I'm talking about that you had in that daggone garage.
Oh man, what era are we talking about? Bama era, NFL era, or post NFL?
Let's go when I caught you out there in Cincinnati, your Cincinnati era.
Cincinnati. Oh,
that's
man,
15,
probably
16, 17, 18.
I mean, around that time, man, I was foolish with the money, man. I wasn't respecting the money, man. So probably the 458 Ferrari or the Rolls Royce Ghost. I mean, I was having a ball, and I'm still having a ball, but I'm much smarter with it now.
What about the Bentley, the coupe?
You know, that was a waste of money, Smoke. You know, that car had 2 million miles on it when I brought it. The insurance company didn't want to cover it. You know, it was a learning experience.
It was a liability.
There's a lot. That's it. You go, Mr. Brown.
Hey, fellas, we used to pull up to the daggone Cincinnati. Y'all didn't even have no parking garage. Y'all had a parking spot. Wallace car game, stupid, man.
Yeah,
shout
man.
out to you.
But I'm gonna tell you, Smoke, that come from where I come from. You know, when my mom we had one car my whole through high school. It was a 1985 Dodge van, and people laughed at us every day. My mom dropped us off and picked us up. So I always said to myself, as soon as I get some damn money, ain't nobody gonna be able to laugh at me. And that's just how it is now.
I hear you.
You and Marvin got that in common because I think Marvin and Mom and Dad still got that Buick. But go ahead.
Well, Steve, I think Marvin still has that Geo Metro from when he was at Alabama. He was like,
he had to squeeze in.
He had to get a shoehorn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Marvin,
now, y'all know Friday when I pull up, I'm pulling up in that machine. Don't play with me. Y'all already know what it is. Don't play with me.
Put it out on the Marvin.
They already know. Don't even play with me.
Steve, he's gonna bring his El Camino with a Dyson mirror.
Pull out game strong, as they say.
Marvin, whole ass in the trunk. Go ahead.
Steven.
Well, here's my question. So, Wallace, for me, whether it was Saban or whether it was Mike Schumer, was there ever one moment where one of them 2 coaches got on you, and you was like, "Oh man,
I'll never forget it. It was Saban. Actually, his first. I want to say first or second practice. Prince Hall, he didn't give us the close call, so I just assumed that the back was to the left, so I lined up to the back, but I should have been away from the back. And I don't really think that it was more so me. I think that he was trying to set the tone to the team, and I was just the guy that he used to do that. Because once I got to know Saban and saw him coach, I saw that a lot, and I'm like, I think he just used me to be the scapegoat for that particular day, because a lot of people were that for him. And that day it was me, and he dog cussed me from the 10-yard line to probably the opposite 20-yard line, but it was all in the lines of the game. Like I never took it personal. I never he hates me. It was none of that. I always wanted to be the guy that the coach didn't have to say anything to. And so again, stuff like that, guys, that's what kind of helped me play those 9 years, because I was already, think about it. The time I left Alabama, I had 2 position coaches. No, excuse me. I had 2 head coaches. I had 4 position coaches and 4 defensive coordinators. So every year I'm learning a new defense, a new scheme, new technique. So I never got to be comfortable in a defense. So, and I got to the NFL, and every week it's a different scheme. So it kind of like helped me prepare myself for what I was getting myself into. So I'll take all that with a grain of salt these days, guys.
Now Wallace, when he got at you though, did he throw the hat off?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, the hat he threw, I made him. I to this day, I got the first straw hat that Nick Saban wore at Alabama. I got him to take the hat off, and I made him sign it for me, and I got it put. Yeah.
Oh,
I got his
okay.
first straw hat. He
That's
signed
cool.
it best wishes. So I guess he didn't think I was gonna go too much further, but yeah, it was cool.
Man, you said Coach Saban threw his straw hat off. I made my high school coach so mad he got naked. I'm like, sir, this ain't necessary.
Damn.
All right, who's
Man.
next?
It's me. I got a couple of things, one from me and one from another person. I'll tell you who that is in just a minute. But Wallace, it's been an absolute honor watching your journey, because I remember,
Thank you.
you may not remember this. My senior year, I worked with Coach Pollard in the weight room with the red shirts
man, Coach P.
and the freshmen. Yeah, you and Rudy Griffin, Keith Saunders, Matt Cadell,
absolutely,
and all that.
Good,
and I just remember you just working your tail off. And I remember Coach P staying on you all the dang time. And
he sure did.
It was just amazing just to watch. You weren't phased. You just worked harder and harder and harder. And I went up to you one day because I really felt this in my spirit. I said, Wallace, you're going to be an all-SEC, all-American player, and you're going to be in the NFL for a very long time. And I'm going to put that over you right now. And you looked at me like, wow. Like nobody ever said it to you before.
I remember that, Justin. I remember that.
Yeah. And the look of gratitude was just amazing. So that meant a lot to me. But to see what you've done, it's been an absolute blessing. Well, let's go back to what you did the best, and that was sack that quarterback. I know you have plenty of them, but every great sack artist has that one that sticks out in their mind more than others. Can you tell me what that was and who that player was you're taking to the ground?
It would have probably been Tom Brady. My first year at Kansas City, I was a sack, caused fumble, and fumble recovery. So again, it was a hat trick. I sacked him, I caused a fumble, and I recovered it. And to do it on a guy of his stature, it wasn't the fact that it was Tom Brady. It was the fact of how much he was getting paid to beat Tom Brady. And when you knock a money guy down like that in the NFL, you know, that's a big deal, because those guys protecting him are getting paid just as much. And you guys got to remember, I was undrafted, probably making the lowest on the field. So you got a guy making $150 a game out here sacking a guy making $10.6 million. So that kind of brought everything back full circle for me, to be honest.
Absolutely. Well, this next question, it comes from someone. It actually kind of ties into an announcement. Folks, if you didn't know this, well, you've been living under a rock. This Friday night, 6 p.m. Central, the Bama Standard will be at the Paul W. Bryant Museum live.
Oh, man, congratulations, guys.
Yes, sir. We're going to be there previewing the game, and we're going to have some legends on set. Wallace, if you're in town, I actually heard you're going to be. Little Birdie told me you were. Feel free to come on set with us. And this allows me to segue to the next question from someone very special to us, Olivia Arnold, the one from the Bryant Museum. She told me.
Hi, Olivia, if you're watching.
She's going. She wanted me to ask you, why are mangoes your favorite fruit, and what do you put on top of them?
Well, I let you people have the mangoes, as she would say. Who are you people? It's so funny. I've never in my life had a mango. Like, that's just something that where I'm from, we don't eat mangoes, and she couldn't wrap her head around that. I guess and if anyone was to ask me what you put on a mango, I would say salt and pepper. I mean, it's what you put on everything else, right, Mr. Brown? Maybe some hot sauce. Maybe
hot sauce. Yeah, that is.
You know?
All right.
You country as hell.
Well, Olivia says she has one waiting on you. So when you get into town, come by the office. Just sitting on the desk.
She told me she's gonna find me a right one. She did. She sure did. I'm holding her to that also.
Awesome. All right, folks. Let's start to wind things down, and the best way we do it.
I got one more question for Gil, though.
Oh hell, here we go.
Here we go. No,
Gil.
I don't boil my meat, Marvin. Go ahead.
No, it ain't about boiling your meat. Gil, how many times did you catch Justin sniffing your jock strap after practice?
You ain't right, bro.
Now, I'm gonna tell you one thing I remember about Justin.
This man was allowed to reproduce,
like
Steve.
every other guy in that
Hey, you ain't right, bro.
We wasn't handing out hardware and winning SEC championships. So guys like Justin could have went to any program and been doing what he did. So that tell me that he had a thing for the University of Alabama. It wasn't just Gilberry. He had a thing for the University of Alabama. And to see Justin in this panel and what you guys are doing right now, guys, I wanna give all y'all flowers, bro, because it's not easy. It's not easy to get in front of a mic and talk about things that you don't talk about on a daily basis. Let's be honest, you guys don't talk about this stuff on a daily basis within your everyday life. So it's a character you guys are putting on, and y'all doing it very well, guys. I wish y'all much success with this.
So what you're saying is to take deep breaths.
Well, I want to say this though, Justin. You said Justin gave you the story about you're going to be an all SEC D lineman or whatever. But actually, before the show, he told you was going to be sorry as hell. Look, so
Hey, he probably did think that when I first got there. When I first got to campus, he probably did think that. 'Cause a lot of them did, but I changed my mind in the first 2 weeks.
You and Rudy Griffin, I knew y'all gonna do something.
I appreciate it.
Hey man, thank you for coming on, man. Dog, you know I love you, dog.
I love
but
you
before
too,
you go, let's go around the room real quick. This is how we end things. Predictions and players of the game. We'll let our guests go last. Start first with the star of the show, Steve Brown. Then we'll go down to Smoke, and then Stephen M, and then Marvin. And I'll do mine, and Wallace, you'll go last.
I will say my prediction is going to be 42-7. And I think my player of the game on offense is going to be Jan Miller. And of course, on defense, it has to be my guy, Malachi Moore.
I love it. I love it. Smoke.
49-7. I'm going to go with Kendrick Law, and I'm going to go with Quay Russo.
Stephen M.
You're mute.
No, here we go. So I got 45-3, Bama 45-3. Offensive player of the game, I think Jalen Milroe's going to have a show. I think he's going to have a show. Defensive player of the game, I'm going to go this, and I feel this, and if this happens, don't be shocked. I'm going to go cornerback Xavier Brown, pick 6.
Love it.
Marvin?
I'm going to go 41-3. Players of the game.
Hold on. Ho. Get some more enthusiasm. You talking Bama ball, man.
41-3. Man, they going to do what they're supposed to do in South Florida. And a players of the game, I'm going to take Law and Quay.
Did you bet?
Yeah. And they covered, so
bombs this week.
I'm going to go 45-13. I'm going to go Jalen Milroe. He wasn't in the game last year, but he's going to make him realize what would have happened last year had he been playing. So he's going to ball out defensive side of the ball. I'm going to go with Q Robinson.
Okay.
All right, Wallace, who you got? What's your score?
You muted. Wallace, you muted.
I think, sorry about that, guys. I think we're going to put at least 40 points up on them, but I do think they're going to score a little bit because South Florida has a better fast-paced offense than we saw against Western Kentucky. So if our guys can get lined up and play team ball, I think we'll be fine. But on defense, I'm going to give it to Womack because I think that swarm defense is going to really come alive, and I think the whole defensive unit is going to play good together. So on offense, I'm going to go Ryan Williams, hometown hero. And on defense, I'm going to give it to Womack and just a whole team swarm defense.
Love it. I love it. All right, before we share our socials, I'll remind everyone we got a full network of shows tonight, 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. You're going to have the final whistle. Your former teammate, Matt Cadell, was one of the co-hosts on that show, Wallace. So if you are not doing anything, check that out. And then tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, you got the Crimson Dynasty with C.C. Payne, Dan James, and Hannah Stevens. The nightcap with the legend at 8:15 p.m. Central, 9:15 p.m. Eastern. Teague's Take with George Teague. And then Friday night, you know where to be at, the Paul W. Bryant Museum for the Bama Standard Live. And we'll actually have some of the hosts from other shows join us for a few segments as well. You don't want to miss it. Y'all get there early. Just pack the place out. Steve Brown will be providing autographs, and Marvin will be put outside. Anyway, let's go around the room. Tell folks how they can find you on social media so they can stay active. We're going to start with Marvin Constant, and then we'll go to Stephen M, Smoke, star of the show, and then Wallace, if you will close it out.
You can find me on Instagram, Constant45, Twitter or X, Constant451. I will officially begin posting on Twitter when we play Wisconsin. I ain't wasting my tweets on South Florida and Wisconsin. I mean, South Florida and Western Kentucky. I ain't wasting my tweets on there. Catch me Wisconsin game. That's when I'm getting active.
Okay, next.
Hey, Wallace, real quick before Steven goes, Daniel Petty is one of the co-hosts of The Final Whistle. He wants you to tell all of Matt Caddell's stories.
Nah, Matt was very quiet, man. He's a very quiet guy, man. He's always been.
You wouldn't.
Nah, not at all. Not at all. But
Stephen M.
Steve, but I do plead the fifth.
Yeah.
Would you say Gil the statutory? Statute of limitation that ran out.
It should have, but these days, man, they give people extensions, so I'm gonna keep quiet.
Remember that time? I'm just kidding. Go ahead, man. The moon winks. Go ahead.
I remember that time at the Black Orchid where you had to kick them 3 hecklers out.
Oh yeah.
He said the wink.
People would come to Steve Brown comedy shows thinking they were funnier than Steve Brown. I never understood that.
Oh.
Steve Brown is the last. Let me tell y'all something. I've been to so many stand-up. Comedy's my thing. Steve Brown is the last guy you want to get into a joking comedy match with. The last guy. He has no filter.
At all.
Some still try it.
He got a bunch of them, and he still got more in reserve.
That's it.
Right.
Who's next?
Stephen M.
All right. Well, I'll be tomorrow.
I'll be Beulah Baptist Church.
I'll be on the campus tomorrow getting the assistant coaches.
So
that's what I'll be at. So I think they're going to have Coach Shepard out there. Coach Freddie Roach is going to be out there. So, golly, bro. I'll be out there getting the assistant coaches. So you can find me, on the campus tomorrow, getting the assistant coach preparing for South Florida.
You gonna quote a scripture?
Man, leave that. Gotta leave my man alone, man.
How old is that Bible that you have?
I'm trying to tell you.
Original Testament. As a matter of fact,
grandma gave him that thing, man.
As a matter of fact, y'all make sure y'all come to the Bama Standard Live this Friday, because I think Stephen has just been. I got the tweet. He's gonna be giving out little green Bibles. So y'all make sure y'all.
So hard they don't want to open one page at the end of the Bible.
Yeah.
I'm not giving out the little Testament Gideon Bible.
Yeah, he giving that little green Bibles and peppermint.
He's a brand ambassador for Jesus, ain't he? Army of the Lord.
Oh man. Listen. I'm gonna make it quick. You can find me on X and Instagram on X. Coach GV Dixon. Call, read, and I got Unfiltered on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 Central, 5 Eastern, 24/7. We getting it done.
That's what's up.
Oh, it's my turn. I'm on X, and you can find me on X. Also, you can
see, you got so much going on. You can't
we
get it
don't leave
out.
that alone. You definitely on more than X. We're gonna leave that.
Hey, no,
got him.
Shut up, Marvin. I'll be in Tuscaloosa, Alabama this Friday with the Bama Standard. Also Saturday, I'll be down in Mobile. You can catch me on Instagram, Comedy Steve Brown, one word, and on my Facebook fan page, Comedian Steve Brown. I'm looking forward to seeing y'all live in Tuscaloosa. Dog team, I'm gonna be down your area, so I'm gonna hit you up. Let's
Dog, I got you, dog. All I do is just get in town. Everything else on me.
And he mean that.
If anyone needs a ride to the Bama Standard on Friday, Stephen S. Smith is providing a shuttle in his gold Cadillac. You'll know it's him because he's going to be blaring Tamla Man.
Hey, me to the king.
Hey, Justin, can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Hey, Steve Brown.
Justin, did you put the trailer on the drop top?
Steve still riding that Cadillac with them unregistered plates. That man he had that car registered since 2007, man.
Hey, listen.
Go ahead, Smoke.
Hey, listen. Most people always say when you get in town, it's on me. Wallace Gilberry is 110%. When you get in town, you touch down in Mobile.
That's my.
If you want to hit people's, hit his horn. You at the house, and it's 1,000% on him. Shout out to you, they raised it right. They raised it right.
Hey, before we get out of here, Justin, you got to stop giving people misinformation. It's not a Cadillac, it's a church van. So y'all make sure he will be bringing.
The First Baptist Church of God in Christ community van.
Hey man, don't come back with that chair. I promise you. Come back with that.
Hey, Steve, did you put the back seat back in the van, Steve?
Look at the pastor's anniversary chair.
Y'all over that one.
Hey, Steve, have you put the back seats back in the van yet?
They back in there, man. They been back in there.
That thing got so many autographs in it. That thing got so many autographs in the back.
I tried to get saved in the side and he wouldn't sign it.
Yeah, Nick ain't getting that van, man. He ain't got enough candy.
I just got a tweet. Mark, I just got another tweet.
You gotta have some little Debbies.
I just got a tweet from Miss Olivia. The special announcement: Marvin gonna be selling Bama leotards.
Y'all done yet?
Newly born.
Before Wallace goes, we got another super chat from Don Parker, $5. Stephen M. Gonna pull up to live bunking too short, curse words in an 8-track.
Hey, there we go, Don. There we go.
Short dog.
Hey, he gonna try to be cool and not wear his glasses and end up parking the van in the lobby.
Man, will y'all leave Steve in his baptismal chair alone? Let that man live.
Wallace.
You guys are so much fun, dog.
Man, Wallace,
I love it.
Thank you, brother, for finally joining the fun. You see what you've been missing
but
this whole
listen,
time?
before I go, I got one question for you, Riley, Mr. Riley.
Yes, sir.
What is the Bama Standard?
Right here.
Got that chair that belong on that altar that Steve's sitting in.
Hey, I can answer that.
Go ahead, Star.
We are what it is, what Bama should be. We go hard to make sure you get the greatest information that we can provide to our fans, and not only that, we give you grade A entertainment. You never know what you're going to get, but just know it's going to be positive, fun, and it's going to be a lot of love in the room and a lot of positivity. And we're just proud to bring you the Bama Standard, because that's what we are.
Amen.
Well said.
Well, Wallace,
it's a kink in our armor with Marvin, but go ahead.
It is, tax credit. Wallace, tell folks how they can find you on social media, what you got coming up next, and then we'll head on out.
I don't have a social media, just a Facebook, Wallace Gilberry. I think I only got about 7 of those, so make sure you click onto the right one. I can make a new profile every 3 weeks. But yeah, man, I'm social. I'm not big on social media these days because I'm too active in real life. So that's what I tell everybody. Catch me in traffic.
Gotcha. Well, brother, thank you so much for being part of this. It's been an absolute honor, absolute blessing. Let's do it again very soon.
God bless y'all. Thank y'all.
God bless you,
all right,
man.
Drew.
All right. You'll see us all Friday. Until then, roll tide, everyone.
Roll tide.